What's something that told you your classmate grew up wealthy? One classmate, Emily, stood out because her life seemed different from mine. It wasn't about big things like fancy clothes or expensive gadgets. It was about the small details that showed she grew up with a lot of money. Emily's clothes always looked new and nice. It wasn't just that they were stylish, they seemed like they were from really expensive stores. My clothes, on the other hand, often came from second-hand shops. Hers looked like they were from a high-end boutique, while mine were more like something you find at a bargain sale. When Emily talked about her family trips, it was like she was describing scenes from a movie. She'd been to beautiful places like Bali and the Swiss Alps. My vacations were simpler, more like going to nearby spots and not needing to work part-time over the summer. Her stories were like big-budget films, while mine felt more like a small, independent production. In school activities, Emily was part of clubs and sports that seemed exclusive. It was like she was picking from a menu of options that most of us didn't even know existed. I, on the other hand, was trying out whatever I could find, and it often felt like stumbling through a script without many resources. The biggest difference was in our struggles. While I worried about working part-time jobs and saving money for college applications, Emily didn't seem to have these concerns. Her biggest worry was about choosing the perfect Ivy League college, something I couldn't even imagine. Despite the differences in our lives, Emily turned out to be an unexpectedly good friend. It wasn't just about money, it was about how she treated others, including me. When we hung out with friends, she often covered most, if not all, of the costs. It wasn't like she was showing off or trying to prove something. It was just her way of making sure everyone could enjoy things together. You could see it in her eyes, there was no judgment or superiority. She never looked down on anyone or thought others were beneath her. Instead, she seemed genuinely happy to share her experiences and make sure everyone felt included. It was like we were all part of the same story, regardless of our backgrounds. Going out shopping with Emily and our friends was always an interesting experience. She had a thing for designer brands, and I'll admit, it was a bit intimidating at first. While the price tags on those items would normally make me and our not-so-wealthy friends feel a bit uneasy, Emily didn't even bat an eye. Literally, she would pick out stuff that would easily cost over $5,000 and say, "This looks so pretty, I just have to take this home." We were still in high school, mind you. It was as if the numbers on those tags didn't register in her world. As we navigated through the final chapters of high school, graduation day became the turning point that sent us down different paths. Most of my friends and I chose the nearby community college as our next stop. It was a practical decision, one that aligned with our financial realities. Emily, however, soared into a different stratosphere. I vaguely recall the day she got accepted into an Ivy League institution, Harvard or Princeton, the details blurred by the whirlwind of emotions. It was a moment of pride and awe, tinged with a touch of envy. While we set foot on the familiar grounds of community college, Emily ventured into a world of academic prestige. The paths we took naturally led to a gradual drift. Community college life was a mix of working part-time jobs, squeezing in study sessions between shifts, and navigating the maze of lower-tier education. Emily, on the other hand, delved into the intellectual tapestry of an elite institution, where the challenges were different, the ambitions higher, and the connections more profound. In the beginning, we tried to keep in touch. Social media was our lifeline, providing glimpses into each other's evolving worlds. Emily's posts reflected a life that seemed almost cinematic, lecture halls with towering columns, vibrant campus life, and encounters with minds that shaped the world. Meanwhile, our updates spoke of more humble narratives, late-night cram sessions, shared meals at the local diner, and the camaraderie of a close-knit community college. As time passed, the updates from Emily became fewer, and our connections loosened. It wasn't a deliberate choice, life just took us in different directions. Our paths, once intertwined in the high school narrative, now diverged. Thinking back on it, I'm not even sure why she was attending a public high school in the first place. Her family could have definitely afforded something better and more prestigious at the time. The truth is, losing touch with Emily wasn't a source of deep sadness for us. She was, in a way, the protagonist of her own story, and we were characters playing our roles for a time. Even though we don't talk anymore, she's still the topic of discussion whenever we reminisce about the good old high school days. I hope she's doing well for herself out there.